Hello, I'm Jennifer. Welcome to Joy of Stationery. What I wanted to do for this video is just to give a little bit of an overview of what I decided on for One Book July. So what I've done here is it's not so much one book as it is one notebook cover that kind of holds my system, which technically consists of 3 notebooks, but I was very proud of being able to kind of combine them all into one system here. So I just wanted to kind of take you through what I had decided on. This is the Hobonichi A6 Willow Tree Colors cover that came out with their 2023 lineup. And what I've done is I've added this patch here, and it was a really cute mountain patch from an Etsy shop. I believe the name of the shop was Little Paisley Designs. And it was just a nice way to add some personalization to the cover in ways that felt like it made it more mine, which is really nice. So what I have in here, as I open it up, is I have the Hobonichi A6 Avec for July through December on one side, on the left side here. You can see that on the other side I have a field notes, and I have one more field notes in the back that I'll show you in a moment. But what I was really hoping to do with One Book July is to see if it would be possible to get everything that I needed all in one system. And so because of that, it's the first time that I used a Hobonichi cover and the card slots here to actually serve as my wallet as well. So I've got my cards here, I've got some stamps and a cute little sticker from Nico Neko in New York City. And here for my A6 Avec, I have one of the really lovely Gloomies cards made by Megan Rhiannon, or Petite Gloom. I have the back side of the card here because I just really love this design, and I felt like looking at it for a while. But otherwise, this is one of the miscellaneous Gloomies cards that she sells in her shops, and this one is related to kind of studying and work, since this setup is really to kind of help work with all the work that I have to do and kind of keep track of. So very, very cute little card. And this lovely sunflower one is actually from Little Paisley Designs, the indie Etsy shop that I got my patch from. And so I've just been keeping both of them up here in the front. It was always, or it always is really nice to start a new planner, right? I started a new Hobonichi, for example, and so I was really glad that it's July, and it gave me a chance to open up a new Avec. What I've started doing here, and what I think I'm going to be using this for, is, as of just a few days ago, setting up a Pomodoro tracker, and this is really to kind of help me with my projects that require Pomodoro kind of independent work on them. As you can see, I only did one on the 9th, and that was because afterwards I accidentally gave myself a concussion. So I felt like it probably wasn't wise to do any more work that day. For the monthlies, starting with July, what I'm really using it for is just to kind of keep track of appointments and meetings, as well as deadlines. And so as an academic, a lot of the work that I do are these sort of disparate writing projects, so different articles, essays to write, a book project, and all of them, depending on what they are, have different deadlines. And so the monthlies are really helpful for just helping me keep track of when the various deadlines are, and how they're looking in relation to each other, just so I can have a better idea of how I need to allocate my time and kind of plan out my time. Since this is an Avec book, they do have a turning the page, not to a new year, but in this case, the next half of the year. And what I used it for was to do some reflection using some questions that a writing coach, Jane Jones, sort of put out in her newsletter that I thought were really helpful, especially for academics or for people who are trying to get writing projects done. But I thought also just overall for a mid-year assessment, right? Kind of taking stock of your goals, what you've done so far. And so these questions include, what have I accomplished so far this year? And I like that she included this parenthetical to, keep in mind that no accomplishment is too minor to list, right? And that's really helpful to kind of keep in mind. Are my actual accomplishments in line with what I wanted to achieve? Do I need to course correct and adjust my goals for the second half of the year? And specific to writing, how do I want to feel about my writing for the rest of the year? What actions can I take to cultivate those feelings? And I also like that she kind of included, and I put this here in using this remember sticker from Megan Rhiannon as well, and the flower sticker is from her sticker sheet as well. That this kind of mid-year assessment doesn't have to be, long or tedious, and something that might be nice to do is to revisit them monthly just to see how you're progressing. And so I wanted to kind of remember that and think about, maybe taking a quick assessment, kind of reevaluation after each month, just to see where I'm at and how I'm kind of keeping track of things. And then we get to the month of July. This is the first time I decided to kind of use this monthly dashboard to write a quote from the book that I was reading. And I really liked this quote from Ling Ma's Severance. The first place you live alone, away from your family, he said, is the first place you become a person, the first place you become yourself. And I think that because I've been reflecting a lot on just my growth, different places that I've lived. I just moved to a new country this year, so a lot of that has kind of been on my mind. And granted, it's not the first time that I've moved away from my, from my family. Nonetheless, it made me kind of think of the ways that, the different places that you go to and, move to help you develop into the person that you end up becoming. And so I just thought it was a nice kind of quote to kind of set the tone with where I'm at kind of mentally and emotionally at the moment, what I'm kind of focusing on. This is a cute little sticker from Lola Starry Art and her Patreon. And what I've been doing for the dailies is really using the kind of this top section for my priority, really just kind of trying to flag one particular project or one priority for the day, just because there are usually so many competing things for my attention that it just helps to have like, okay, this is my focus. And otherwise, I've been using kind of the right-hand column as a task list. The left-hand column, this was a weekend, so it's really just to kind of keep track of what I ate for my meals, but otherwise, I have kind of appointments on the kind of timeline here. One thing that I've been doing that you'll kind of notice in each of these spreads is something that was just kind of a fun way for me to keep track of my writing progress. So what I've found is typically kind of trackers for the week. So if I want to kind of do a weekly tracker and say track the writing that I do, the work that I do, maybe hydration, going for a walk, things like that, a weekly tracker for some reason hasn't been working for me. And with something like writing, which is so crucial to what I do in my field, I needed a way to make tracking more fun for me. So what I've done is I've just kind of, taken a little 5x5 grid corner here. I've called it my writing corner. And I've been referring it on these daily pages as my daily writing corner. And if I've done some writing for that day, it's a way to reward myself, just because I am very reward and treat motivated, by giving myself a gold star, as just a way to, look forward to adding that to my day. And that way it is just kind of a lot easier for me to kind of see over the course of a number of days if I've done my writing that day. And I've just been using this, this cute little kind of sneaker sticker to kind of mark the days. See, I didn't on this day, mark the days that I've been able to kind of go out for a walk. So it's, again, just a little tester, a little experiment to kind of to track these kinds of things as well. So this is how I've been using these daily pages. So that's what I've been using the Hobonichi Avec for. The field notes, and I have 2 of them here, have been a real game changer for me. I started using them at the end of June just to kind of test them out. It's the first time I've actually used field notes, even though I knew about them for a long time. But I am just really, really loving the size of them, that they're so slim. A kind of problem for me for a long time has been, you know, absolutely loving different kinds of notebooks, but having a really hard time actually finishing notebooks. And there's a real sense of satisfaction that you get from having finished a notebook, and you can kind of close it up and sort of flip through it and, you know, think this is an accomplishment in itself. And I was having a hard time doing that, so I thought, you know what, let's just try these field notes. They're really slim, so it's, you know, it feels a little bit more low stakes. And, you know, since the end of June, I've actually already finished two field notes notebooks. So I have a new one of this design and a new one of the other design that I'll show in just a minute too. Otherwise, just kind of in the back pocket here, I have a new little patch here. This was really cheap from Amazon, but I wanted to kind of give it a shot. It's the year of the rabbit, so I thought it would just help kind of flag for me that, you know, I tried this experiment out in 2023, the year of the rabbit. I have, you know, here are the little icon stickers. Oh, this is from Bonne Boutique, yeah. And I got this like several years ago, but I'm finally kind of using them now. I have the Hobonichi stencil. That's been really, really useful. And, you know, the star stencil is what I've been using to track my Pomodoros. And then some stickers in the back here. This field notes, I have this really cute sticker that I finally used from Love Soup. I love Love Soup's little character, Pepper, and I thought this was a really sweet one. These field notes I've been using as basically a notebook for my research and my writing projects and other kind of related things. It's inspired by Megan Rhiannon's commonplace notebook kind of setup with the dot stickers, and I know a lot of others have found that to be really inspirational as well, especially keeping a commonplace book. I think for me, because so much of what I do as an academic and as a lecturer is I do have to read so many books and so many articles that doing a commonplace book is hasn't been as efficient with just the sheer amount of kind of reading material that I have to go through. But instead, I've been finding this dot system to be really, really helpful, just to kind of have a place with my planner system to just jot some quick notes as I'm doing writing, maybe even as I'm doing some reading. And the different dots kind of help me keep track of, you know, what category to put them in, right? So I have black for just kind of reflections on my writing process more generally, or kind of things that I come across, writing tips and things that I think might be helpful for me, since anybody who has to do a lot of writing knows that writing is really, really hard. I have gray for support, what I'm calling support and nourishment. And so actually a lot of entries that I have with a gray dot are stationary musings, just because I find stationery and kind of thinking about stationery and my planning setup and my notebook setup to actually be a kind of emotional support for me. And so even when I have a lot of work to do or a lot of writing to do, it can be really helpful to kind of think through, like, oh, what are my stationary things? And it gives me a little spark of joy and maybe a little bit of energy as I kind of think through, oh, how to organize different things. I have blue for teaching and course design and prep, as well as kind of other references to literature that I'm reading, even if it's not specific to a course. And then these typically the purples and the pinks are related to my scholarship. And so the purple might be kind of professional meetings and notes from there, or scholarship that I'm reading. the kind of magenta for specific writing projects that tend to be essay or article length, and this kind of brighter pink for book projects, but it's also kind of turned into using Todoist, which is an app, very recently to help kind of organize the tasks for my writing. And so, what I've been doing actually, which is kind of fun, is I've also been combining some of the colors and categories. I wanted to write down some of these quotes from Lingma's Severance, and so I just kind of used, they were kind of support and nourishment. They were also literature that I was reading. And the purple I've also kind of used in order to kind of reference other people's writings, right? Other people's words, rather than my own. And so I just wanted to kind of include that here. But otherwise, this has been really just helpful for me, just again, to kind of jot down different kinds of things as I'm working on my various projects. And then finally in the back here, this is the first kind of batch of field notes notebooks that I got, and this is the National Park series. And I ended up using the first one at the end of June as a kind of bullet journal, just because I was needing to kind of get back to basics. And here I have kind of this multi-week, kind of multi-month calendar, just as a quick reference, just because it's been really helpful for me to kind of see where we are in the calendar year, see across months, for example, see across weeks, which is always really helpful for me. And I began to kind of set up a very short-term future log and the months log. But for this particular one, as I began July, I ended up using this more as an actual kind of just go-to journal. And that's been actually really, really nice for me. Often with the, daily planners, there are some days that I want to journal for more than a page, other days that I don't journal quite as much. And so just having a kind of low stakes field notes has been really, really helpful with just kind of journaling whenever I feel like it. So I hope that was helpful to kind of see what my setup is. I will hopefully be making some others as I think about my mid-year techo kaigi and reflections. Otherwise, thank you for being here.